Come on in, welcome to my home. Today, I am going to clean my kitchen. Well, that's not 100% true. Today, I'm going to do 2 cabinets in my kitchen. They are the corner cabinets that really need to be cleaned out because it's just an absolute disaster mess. But the reason I'm doing this video is to show you that, no, you don't have to clean out your entire whatever room in one day. You can just do parts of it, one shelf, whatever. I've talked about this before. If you click that card, it will take you to the day where I show you where I do one shelf a day, so that way I don't have these huge clean outs. Does that always work? No, not always. It doesn't always work. But it does help me to keep from having this overwhelming sense of, hey,
I've got to clean everything
all at once. It all has to be done.
Because that can really, really set you off. I mean, it really can. And I do have some hints about cleaning this because there was a lot of stuff in there, and still there's stuff I can get rid of because I've just decided that there are things in there that I'm really not using. But first I needed to go, why am I telling you all this? Let me show you what I did. Alright, let's look at the kitchen cabinet first. And this is my kitchen cabinet of hopes and dreams. What this basically has is it just has all the containers that I would use to store things in, along with some lids. So if I'm cooking something or that sort of thing, that's where those containers go and they live there. Yeah, it's super disorganized and I have to do something about that. Things first, the cabinet needs to be emptied. And as I was emptying it out, I mean, like, there are things in there that I had forgotten that I'd put in there, things in there that were great ideas or great places for the item at the time. But I find that I almost rarely, I never use the canning jar lids. The containers that I can then store things in, they get used quite often. But they need to be in a better place, and I also need to be more realistic about what I am actually going to store and what I'm actually going to keep, because these things are really, really easy to just sort of grow up around you. And the next thing you know, you have a cabinet which is full of stuff which you have to fight to get out, which is really, really annoying. So I hope that took care of that. I think that it did. But it still has to be organized because there are some things in there that I'm never going to use, that I had the best intentions of making my own oat milk, but I found that it is a lot easier and cheaper and better to go out and buy extra creamy oat milk, which I do like. So yeah, I'm not going to use that, but I had the apparatus in there that I could make my own oat milk, but yeah, that's not going to happen. So this became a time of realism. So this is the other corner cabinet. This is my corner cabinet I call the container corner cabinet. This really has pitchers or jars or containers. It has a lot of the coffee stuff so that I can make coffee stuff. Tea, the giant funnel, which I occasionally use, but I do use it. But most of this is just containers or bar stuff. There is a lot of bar stuff in there. So this needs to be cleaned out. So cleaning it out was pretty, once again, straightforward. I just went through and emptied out everything that I could possibly get my hands on that was in there. And there, like I said, there is a lot of stuff. And this was when it came really handy to empty everything out and put it in one spot, because some of the cabinets were going to switch back and forth, but also some of the stuff had to go, because I have you might have seen it in there, it was one of those tea or drink dispensers with the spout in it. I've had it for over a year. I've never connected the spout. That should tell you how much I do not use that thing. And I really don't. I don't use it in any way, shape, nor form. And that was the big problem, is, once again, it was a cabinet of hopes and dreams. But if I'm not going to use it, I'm not going to keep it. But then I realized how much stuff there really was, and there was a ton, and I mean an actual ton of stuff, which I then really needed to go through and look at really hard and decide what needed to stay and what needed to go. And I was going to do this pretty ruthlessly because a lot of it, and I do mean a lot of it, just needed to go. Everything from the 2 cabinets is emptied out. It's all out here. But the first thing I'm going to do is get rid of the stuff, or at least put aside the stuff that I don't want to keep anymore. One of the things which I did find while it was fun making sourdough bread, I don't really like doing that much. So all the sourdough bread stuff is going to go. Things like making oat milk, that sort of stuff, the equipment for that will also go. And there are a lot of jars that I just don't like, never did. So they're going to go. Let me sort that out now. So this is all the stuff which is going. Jars, containers, that sort of thing. I don't need any of it. And this is what the cabinets now look like. Pretty cleaned out, which I sort of like. I have my storage containers, the things I would cook with, and then store them all on that side. And that makes it really, really handy so I know where stuff is. On the other side, we have just our containers and bar stuff. These are just the containers that I would use, like jars, pitchers, that sort of thing. Makes life so much easier to have things where exactly and completely you know where they are and what you're going to do with them. Okay, so that really was pretty easy, and it gave dramatic results because it's clean. Those two cabinets are really clean. I know what's there. And you're saying, well, what you said at the beginning of this, well, you were going to get rid of some stuff. One of the things I'm going to get rid of, well, a few of the things I'm going to get rid of, are the containers that are actually connected containers. Like they can go into the oven, they can go to the freezer, they have lids, but they're all connected. Why am I going to get rid of them? Because when I store my leftovers or things like that, they're really cool. If I can bake in those containers, they are, one of those great things. They're silicone. You can bake in them, you can freeze in them, but I use them mainly for leftovers, and it doesn't help. Here's the problem with that. Using them for leftovers, all these connected containers, that means I either have to pop out the leftover and put it into a different storage container, pop out the leftover and cook it in like something else. And it's just like, well, no, that's not what I want. I want to have leftover containers that I can actually just cook in. So I'm going to be looking into, and you'll see this, I'm going to be looking into some like glass leftover containers. I do have some that can go, because they can go into the freezer, they can go into the refrigerator, they can go into the dishwasher. That to me is a big thing. I want them to be able to go into the dishwasher. And so the other ones just need to go. And I know a lot of you are saying, but you just got those. But if they're not working, like I've said before, if something's not working, I'm not looking at the price of it. I'm looking at what's it taking up in real estate? What's it taking up in like my life? Because some of these things were in there and I hadn't used them. I'm not going to use them. It was fun for a while, but now they've got to go. And I think that's really changed the way I look at things. Also, I'm now looking at things as I clean, because we're going to be doing more cleaning. As I go through stuff, I'm now looking at, instead of pulling everything out and then going through and talking about only figuring what I'm going to get rid of, I'm now pulling everything out and looking at, what do I love? What am I keeping? What things am I going to put back into the space versus what am I going to take out of it? And by doing that little reverse, that brain flip, that does change things. It changes things a lot when you start looking at cleaning stuff or sorting things out or organizing, and you start looking for, what things am I going to keep? Because guess what? That actually makes you feel better, because you're like, oh, wow, this is great. These are the things that I love. These are the things that I'm going to keep. And it's a lot of fun. But you'll see that coming up. It's coming up pretty soon. But we will be doing some other things in the meantime. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'd love to hear what you're cleaning out. Even if it's just one shelf, just one tiny little thing. Just start there. Don't feel you have to do it all in one day, because you really don't. Do whatever you can and take it slow. At this time, I'd like to thank these wonderful people who let me figure these things out, and they help me figure these things out. You can become part of the Patreon family or part of the channel members by joining this. You could also share and like this video. That lets the YouTube algorithm know that more people should watch these videos, or should at least get the chance to see these videos. And it's a great way to keep this channel going, and it's a great way to get me onto bigger and better projects, because it helps fund the channel, like 100%. I really do want to thank these wonderful people, because they're what really keeps this channel going. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope I get to see you again the next time you stop by.